My background in computing and education has been over many years. I got my first computer when I was just 7 years old. I was lucky enough to be at Pontier Junior School when they had their first computer, and I was able to get some exposure to computing, which absolutely fascinated me. I went on to have some computer graphics published when I was 14, some programming code published when I was 17. I was doing fourth generation X-based languages when I was 18, and they were used in a court of law for prosecuting South West Water by the NRA. When I went to university, I read architecture at the Welsh School of Architecture here in Cardiff. I left after a couple of years, but whilst there I came up with a couple of modelling techniques which hadn't been seen before for 3D modelling of topographical landscapes, and also some sunpath modelling techniques. Whereas previously it had been a very laborious task to draw those things out, I was able to produce time-lapse photography videos of sitting inside buildings to see where the sun went. When I left university, I had an opportunity with a company called Global Internet, which was one of the big 5 ISPs when commercial internet first started in the UK. And I was responsible for one of the first NT databases going online for buying and selling cars, which was a full 2 years ahead of Auto Trader. So I've been very fortunate in the exposure that I've had to computing over the past 20 or so years. The inspiration behind VSI was after working at Global Internet down in London. I saw an opportunity to come back to South Wales with a lot of that experience and help South Wales businesses thrive on the internet. There was a lot of opportunity here because the internet had only just started, it had only just become a commercially viable opportunity for many businesses to get involved. And the main thing I wanted to set up, I remember when I was at university here in Cardiff, there was a company called Duffer & Powell up by the Halls of Residence. And I remember they just got out of business after 150 years of trading, and I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to have an IT company that was able to survive such technological changes over such a long period of time? Because most IT companies were pretty flash in the pan at the time as part of the dot-com bubble. So the main thing was really to set up a long-term IT company, and over the last sort of 16, 17 years we've successfully achieved that. Over the years, well, initially we always thought that VSI would grow organically. That was always the idea. We never wanted to be part of the boom and bust technology, the dot-com. We always were after sort of slow, stable, steady, secure growth. And one of the biggest challenges has always been partly to self-fund that growth, that investment in new technology time and again, and to innovate as the market changed. But also to find the people that would come along with us on that ride, to find talented individuals, whether they come from the university or any other area where they might have been working in IT, and to bring them into our way of working and to show how efficient, well-written code that could change the way that businesses work for the better would really drive the growth of the business forward. I think our main strength as a company lies in our coding background. I'm a programmer myself, and nearly everybody who works here is from a programming background. We focus very much on technical expertise. A lot of people forget that the web isn't about pretty pictures, it's about the programming that makes those pretty pictures appear. So whilst there's an awful lot of web designers in the industry, there are very few web developers who are able to deliver the whole package, the design, the development, and also the integration or software systems which are required to make a business work on the internet. It's a very competitive marketplace for web design. We have seen maturity come into the marketplace in the last 5 or so years. We've seen a lot of the one-man bands disappear from web development and web design. We've also seen, I think, 2 areas of business encroach into web design. First of all, I think that the design side has experienced the same kind of rationalization that graphic designers experienced in the 90s with the advent of desktop publishing. It tended to squeeze the production side of their business and meant that they had to focus more on just the creative, their core skill. And we found that, I think, in web design a similar scenario has happened, but the core skill is more towards the technical. which has suited our business most certainly. The other side, I think, where maturity has come to the market and squeezed the core business is that many hosting companies now offer template websites. And whilst that can work for people who are a little bit more au fait in terms of developing or managing their own website, it means that it sets businesses like ourselves a much easier, unique selling proposition, because we not only offer the design and the implementation, but we can also offer the integration to your other software systems, or provide you with bespoke solutions, which those companies that just offer just off-the-shelf templates don't offer at the moment. So it's interesting, there's a lot of maturity coming to the marketplace, and certain aspects of what we do are gradually becoming commoditized. We feel that we're in a very strong position in that we write the software and hold the intellectual property on a lot of our systems, so it can only be a good thing for our own company. VSI has a number of quite well-known key clients. Many people obviously know Thomas Cook, and people like Manchester United. We do websites for their soccer schools program. We also do a website for Celtic Manor that many people in Wales will know, as they hosted the Ryder Cup back 2 years ago. One thing which is common across all of the key clients that we have, whilst we're a smaller company, we do have these very large clients. We don't have a massive amount of clients. We rather work very competently with a handful of clients than try and spread ourselves too thin. That means we tend to be very integrated to their business and their business processes, almost like a bit of an IT web department for them. And those partnerships have lasted a long time. Thomas Cook we've worked with for 14 years, well over a decade, and they continually come back to us for work, which is obviously a very good endorsement of our business. Thomas Cook is a good example where we've innovated with them. We've recently done some video delivery streaming for them, both on tablets, on phones and on the desktop. We've done some apps for them. They've had 50,000 downloads of their apps that we've developed for them for both Android and iOS in just 3 months. And we do all of their brochures online as well, page turning effect, all of that kind of thing, and personalised download of brochures. And they have about 1 million page views on those sites every quarter, so about 4 million over the year. They're very, very successful. With the Celtic Manor, we provide a raft of services, including their content management systems, integration to their tea time booking and their marketing databases, their reservation systems, and a number of other web services we also provide. With regard to Manchester United soccer schools, probably one of the most interesting pieces of work we've done, because the basic proposition was to come to us, and although we provide reservation systems and booking systems, it's the first time somebody had asked us to deliver a booking system multilingually, and they weren't able to get that with their existing supplier, and that's part of the reason why they chose us. We developed a system which was quite innovative, which allows us to effectively just import a language into the booking system, and a new language can be delivered just in a couple of days. And that system enables us not to have to be able to speak Russian, which nobody here does, or Spanish or French. And the programmers don't need to know how to sort of put the translated content in. It just runs through importers, which we built into the system. It's been very successful. It's doubled their bookings. It's up over 100% their bookings year on year since they've had this new system. So clearly Russians like to book in their own language. VSI has got quite bold ambitions for the future, which have changed more recently. Like many companies, we've always gone after growth. Our growth has been slower because we wanted to be organic and therefore more secure as a base for everybody involved in the company. But the ambition now for us is to pursue a couple of software systems that we've developed and we feel can be very successful in the marketplace. One is the booking systems that we've developed for the Manchester United soccer schools, which we've recently got another project starting with another Premiership football club based on the same system, and we feel that we can take that out to a wider marketplace. As a business, we've also developed slightly the basic proposition that we have in terms of web design and content management system and SEO, which we now all wrap into one package, and that's been very successfully received by a number of customers that have taken it. So we see ourselves in 5 years, excuse me, expanding and probably doubling in size, and probably being one of the leaders in Wales, if not in the UK, as a digital marketing agency. A lot has changed in the industry in the last sort of 20 years in which I've been involved with it professionally, another almost 12 years before that as a child and a teenager programming and being published. I think what was fascinating about the industry back then is that you could know almost everything there was to know about computers when I was a teenager. And these days you can only really know about one particular area. And even the web itself has become so huge, you're now finding people specialise in one particular area, whether that be SEO or PPC or content management or HTML or back-end systems. I think what's been most fascinating, as I've touched on earlier, is the commoditization of the web solution that's provided to people and that is used by businesses. I think going forward we'll see more of that. What's probably more exciting for me is that whilst it may be less exciting in terms of new technologies, which I think we may be plateauing around or at least consolidating around, I think it will become more interesting in that companies will start to get a much better handle on how it can work for them. And that's certainly where we're interested as a business, in working with companies in order to take the web to them, see how it can improve their business processes, make them operate more efficiently, maybe improve their revenues. We originally came to the ITWales student graduate placement scheme through Go Wales, and ITWales has continued to support our sourcing of graduate students, whether it be through university fairs where we've met people, almost like a preliminary interview, whether it's been through recruitment or whether it's been the support thereafter. We're very strong believers in helping Welsh organisations, helping the Welsh educational establishments such as the universities, and also in giving university students an opportunity as soon as they leave college. We're actually very lucky in Wales in that many of the first IT media web courses in the UK were available in places like Pontypridd, Swansea, Newark, etc. And we've been very lucky in that we've been able, with ITWales, to be able to source all of those students as they pour out of those universities, often very talented individuals, and being able to capture them and get them to come and work at VSI. Some of them have lasted here just a year before moving on to other IT placements, but some have managed to stay here long term, 5 years, which has been great stability for us. And recently we sponsored a student through an MSc, and we're also now a partner with Swansea University for a technology partnership for another MSc student. And this has all been born out of the relationship that we've had with ITWales. It's been very, very core to the VSI success over the last 14 years. My advice to anyone starting out looking for a career in IT is, first and foremost, don't look to IT because you've read in the papers that people in IT get very well paid. That's changing within the industry. If you are looking for a well-paid career, I would always suggest that you look at the programming side. There are lots of people that deal with the media, the design, the graphic side of it, but the people that will always be paid higher and far more in demand are the programmers. If you want to start out and find an easy point, it would always be just to download some Microsoft product or some open source programming tools and start to try and learn from those and get yourself online. There are so many forums that even we use now to try and solve or find out code snippets to help us improve the tools and the software that we write. We would suggest maybe there's a new piece of hardware called a Raspberry Pi. It's been all over the BBC. It's very much in the mould of the BBC Model B, excuse me, or the Acorn Electron, which I first started on when I was 7, and it gives you a very bare bones approach to computing and allows you to understand programming and what it can do. At the end of the day, a job in IT is enormously satisfying because you are constantly building stuff. At the end of each day you have something to show for it, and at the end of each project you have something in place which is benefiting individuals, and that gives you a huge amount of satisfaction, job satisfaction, and will always keep you interested through your career. I'd say a job in IT is certainly worthwhile pursuing.